and enter a plea of guilty to count 1, count 2, and count 5, all of which are violating a protection order, a felony of the 5th degree. The state would move to dismiss the remaining counts of the indictment at the time of sentencing. The state does not have an agreement with regard to sentencing with the defense in this case. The state would recommend prison, and the state has provided all discovery to the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Novotny?
Your Honor, that is correct. I went over the plea paperwork with my client, went over everything with him with regard to that, and that's what we're under the impression of today. We would like to ask for a pre-sentence report.
All right. Mr. Sullivan, how old are you?
33.
How far did you go through school?
I got my GED when I turned 18, but I think I completed 9th grade.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
I am.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, sir.
Prior to coming to court, have you taken any drugs or alcohol or any prescription medication in the last 48 hours?
I have not done any I have not drank any alcohol or any drugs, but I'm on the prescription Lamictal, and I take Motrin.
All right, does it affect your ability to understand what's going on here today?
Not at all.
Did you get a copy of this indictment?
I have.
All right, it's been represented to me that you're going to plead guilty to counts 1, 2, and 5, all violating a protection order, all felonies of the 5th degree, and then the other counts would be dismissed at the time of sentencing. Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir.
Now, before I accept your guilty plea, I need to determine that you know and understand the constitutional rights you'll be waiving, the consequences of your guilty plea, and the maximum penalty I could give you, and I need to be satisfied that your guilty plea is being made freely, knowingly, and voluntarily. I'm going to ask you questions. If you don't understand a question or you want to talk some more to Ms. Novotny, let me know and I'll give you more time. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You have a constitutional right to have a trial, either to me or to a jury of 12 Lake County citizens. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
I am.
If you go to a jury trial, all 12 members must agree to a guilty verdict before you can be found guilty. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
I am.
If you go to trial, the prosecutor will call witnesses to testify against you. Do you understand the prosecutor must prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt at a trial?
Yes, sir.
After the witnesses are done testifying for the prosecutor, you have the constitutional right to have your lawyer cross-examine the witnesses. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
I am.
If you go to trial, you have the right to have witnesses come here and testify for you. Do you understand that right?
I do.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
If those witnesses refuse to come to court, I'll issue an order called a subpoena to make them come and testify. Do you understand that right?
I do.
Are you waiving that right?
I am.
You have the right to testify at trial if you want to. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
I am.
You have the constitutional right to not testify at trial if you do not want to. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
I am.
If you decide not to testify at trial, nobody is permitted to comment on that decision. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you go to trial and you're found guilty, you have the right to appeal the guilty finding. Do you understand that right?
I do.
Are you waiving that right?
I am.
If you file an appeal, you have the constitutional right to have a lawyer represent you in the appeal. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
I am.
If you could not afford to hire a lawyer, one would be provided at no cost to you. Do you understand that?
I do.
If you file an appeal, you're entitled to have a transcript of all the hearings in this case. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
I am.
If you could not afford a copy of those transcripts, they'd be given to you at no cost. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you plead guilty here today, you will not have the right to appeal the guilty finding. Do you understand that?
I do.
Do you have any questions about any of your rights?
No, I don't.
Do you still want to plead guilty to these 3 counts?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you understand by pleading guilty, you're fully admitting your guilt to the charge?
I'm guilty.
You understand by pleading guilty to these felonies, you're voluntarily giving up your freedom for whatever period of time I could sentence you to prison, to jail, or to community control.
I understand.
Each of these 3 counts is violating a protection order. Each are felonies of the 5th degree. Each individually have a 12-month maximum prison sentence and a $2,500 maximum fine. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I could give you a consecutive sentence. That means one sentence after another for the separate offenses. If I did that, I could give you a maximum prison sentence of 36 months and a maximum fine of $7,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You understand that if a prison term is imposed in this case, you might have to serve a period of post-release control as part of your sentence for up to 2 years under the parole authority.
Yes, sir.
If you are placed on post-release control and violate any conditions, the parole authority could return you to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. Do you understand that?
I do.
If your violation is a new felony, then you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for that violation. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If that were to occur, the maximum prison term for the post-release control violation would be the greater of 12 months of the time left under post-release control. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand that if a prison term is imposed, you are eligible for judicial release?
Yes, sir.
I could place you on community control for up to 5 years, but if you violate any conditions, I could send you to prison for 36 months. Do you understand that?
I do.
Has anybody promised you that I would be lenient on you just because you're pleading guilty today?
No, sir.
Has anybody promised you what I will sentence you to in this case?
No, sir.
Do you understand I do not have to follow the sentencing recommendation of either the prosecutor or your lawyer?
No, sir. Or yes, sir. I'm sorry.
All right. Have you had enough time to talk with Ms. Novotny before pleading guilty today?
I have.
Has she discussed everything about your case and answered all of your questions?
We went over everything you discussed.
Are you satisfied with the advice she has given you?
Yes, sir.
Have you been threatened or coerced in any way to plead guilty today?
Not at all.
Are you freely, knowingly, and voluntarily entering your guilty plea?
I am.
Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Himmeline, if the case went to trial, what would the evidence show?
Thank you, Your Honor. If this matter proceeded to trial, the state would establish beyond a reasonable doubt that on April 27th, 2022, the defendant and the victim in this case, Julia Cicconetti, entered into a consent agreement and domestic violence civil protection order in the Lake County Common Pleas Court, Division of Domestic Relations, in case number 22DV69. The defendant did sign that document, and a copy was also mailed to him. The consent agreement required that the defendant have no contact with Julia Cicconetti by either telephone, written message, and or mail. On or between March 14th, 2023 and February 29th, 2024, the defendant did initiate telephone calls, written messages, and on December 6th, 2023, sent a mailed letter to Julia Cicconetti. At all times relevant hereto, Julia Cicconetti was a resident of the city of Wickliffe, Lake County, Ohio. Thank you.
Ms. Novotny, anything to add to those facts?
Nothing to add, Your Honor.
Mr. Sullivan, did you hear what Ms. Himmeline said the facts would show if this case went to a trial?
I did.
And are those facts true?
They are.
What is your plea to count 1, violating a protection order, a felony 5?
I'm guilty.
What is your plea to count 2, violating a protection order, a felony 5?
I'm guilty.
What is your plea to count 5, violating a protection order, a felony 5?
I am also guilty.
All right, Ms. Novotny?
And then today's date is 10/9/24. Your Honor, before the court proceedings, my client and I went over the written plea paperwork. We signed it in open court, and I'm referring it to the prosecutor to witness our signatures.
Your Honor, I have witnessed the signature of the defendant as well as his copy and his same on written papers.
Mr. Sullivan, is this your signature on the written plea of guilty?
It is.
Did you sign it voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Do you want me to accept your written plea of guilty?
I do.
I'll accept the written plea of guilty. Defendant was present. Ms. Novotny advised of all of his rights, made a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver of those rights. He understands the nature of the charge, the consequence of his guilty plea, and the maximum penalty. Find it to be knowing, intelligent, and voluntary, will accept his plea of guilty and find him guilty on count 1, violating a protection order of felony 5, count 2, violating a protection order of felony 5, and count 5, violating a protection order of felony 5. I'm going to refer this for a pre-sentence report and victim impact statement. Sentencing will be November 7, 1 p.m. And the bond is revoked. When does the prison sentence expire?
October 22nd of this year.
22nd?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Similar, Ms. Novotny, anything else?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
All right, we're adjourned.
changes that you've been.
Hmm?
That's gonna be helpful. All right.
In that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Positive urine screen for marijuana, October 21 of 21, you understand that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Failed to complete IOP, you understand that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Matthews?
Thank you, Your Honor. This time, Mr. Lee would like to enter pleas of guilty to all of these violations and ask to proceed to sentence.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, what's your plea to those charges?
Guilty.
All right, I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. So, no, October 2 of 19, 2 years of community control. Violation, December of 20, extended you to October 2nd of 22 on community control. And then poof, you disappeared. Where you been?
I've been working and just helping my dad just in the
Alright, so-
house.
You had that, you were reporting up until through October of 21 with the positive test. Is that why you disappeared? Disappeared means not showing up to probation.
That's not the main reason I disappeared.
What's the main reason?
I didn't have proper transportation. I had it at first. And
Okay.
then my car messed up. My head gasket blew in my Jetta. I didn't have no money to pay for it. They wanted $3,500 to fix. And I didn't have no transportation, really. And I just kind of I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I was just going through a lot.
Do you still live in South Euclid
Yes, sir.
with your parents?
Yes.
All right, so what were you doing then all this time?
I'm trying to find my own place to live, but like under the circumstances that I'm under, like far as my background and my bank statements, I haven't been approved for anywhere to live yet.
Were you working?
Yes,
Where were you working?
Grill 55 downtown.
Doing what?
I'm a chef.
You been there for a while?
Yes, sir. I opened up when they first opened. I opened up all the restaurants. You have 5 now. I'm the head chef.
Where's Demetrius these days?
I haven't talked to him. I heard he was back in jail.
That would be a shock. All right, so then, you were here June 10th. What have you been doing since June 10th?
Well, I completed some community service. I went through counseling, therapy.
Where at?
I forgot the name of the place. It's not Signature Health. It's on Mayfield Road though. I forgot the name of the therapist place.
Do you know Dave?
Looking right now, Judge.
He actually, he got me
Behavioral health.
behavioral health. Behavioral health. I'm enrolled into Tri-C right now, trying to finish my communications degree.
What are you gonna do when you finish that?
Probably journalism, change my occupation. I'm tired of I'm tired of the kitchen. I'm tired of the heat. I gotta get out the kitchen.
How much more of that community service you got left?
I got 40 hours complete.
Did you get your license?
Yes, sir. I renewed my tags yesterday too.
So it looks like you did, what was the first violation for, Dave, back in 20?
violation was for a new felony charge of robbery in violation of TPO, but that case was ultimately dismissed. Then there was a positive marijuana and then admitted alcohol use.
All right. And so from 10/2 and 19, you made it about 2 years reporting, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Matthews, what do you have to say?
Just, Your Honor, that everything that I've heard from Mr. Tompkins about Mr. Lee, since we were here for the probable cause hearing, has been very positive. We would ask that he perhaps be continued on community control, if not considered for an early release from community control.
Okay, so let's see. So you managed to turn 2 years of community control into 5 years altogether. Why would you want to do that? That math doesn't make sense, does it?
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I grew up a lot. That was the younger me, and things like that wasn't to, like, if my dad was here or my mom was here, they'd be like, that's some Peyton stuff to do right there. How did I manage to do that?
What does your dad do?
He a retired teacher, no, but he real sick though. No, his kidneys failed, and it's like a genetic disease, so he can't get a transplant from none of his kids because our kidney wouldn't be no good with them.
What does your mom do?
She's a CO, a unit manager at ODYS. She was working at Highland Hills, and now she at one in Akron. I don't know the name of it.
All right, I'm going to kick you off of community control. You've done about 2.5 years or so of your original probation period, which the only reason I gave you 2 years because that's all it entailed. So you managed to complete it all within 5 years. So you're done. All right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, get that degree and then do what you got to do to keep it together, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. That's it.
Thank you, Your Honor.